In this video, we're going to cover Swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin and the Iron Dragon tendon muscle exercises. It's a meridian breathing style. In this entire sequence, there's a lot of isometric work. This series is actually made up of a bunch of parts that all fit together, and there's a bunch of different skills. And so we're going to kind of take each piece at a time, learning the individual skills, learning them in individual pieces, and then putting it all together at the end as one full sequence. And then you'll see the practice will be a sequence of flowing through every piece that we've covered, covering all the different parts. Now, at various stages in your own practice, in your own development, you're going to have to be working on them slightly different, and you may find it more helpful to you to learn and work on them one piece at a time until you master each piece, and then add in the next piece as you work. Otherwise, you may discover that it's not very effective for you. Let's begin with that review of the body regulation for the first four movements of the Swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin. So the first thing to keep in mind is this comes off of the premise of what are known as the structural channels, which is there's a right channel and a left channel. There's the Dai Mai, the central channel, or the Tong Mai, which runs up through just inside of the spine, but you can conceive of it as being up through the center line, through the three dantians, from the pelvic floor to the apex of the head, or the Bai Hui point at the top of the head. This point of the pelvic floor is called Hui Yin. We're going to pay particular attention to the bubbling well point at the sole of the foot, the Lao Gong point in the palms of the hands, the legs. The right and left channels travel from the bubbling well point through the marrow of the bones of the legs up to the ball and socket joints of the hips. There, it exits the ball and socket joints of the hips, travels up through the mid portion of the right side and left side of the torso, and then re-enters into the marrow of the bones of the ball and socket joint of the shoulder, flowing down the arms, and emerges at the Lao Gong point on either side. Those are the right and left channels. So if I were standing in this position, my right and left channels would be generally aligned. Obviously, we're not looking at anything that's straight because the body is contoured much like the landscape. Remember that the Chinese view of the body is that it is a microcosm of the world around us. Now, from these right and left channels, there are lots of collaterals that come out and interface with the tendon or muscle channels of the body, particularly of the limbs. Okay? And then those tendon or muscle channels interface more directly with the main meridians. So, the primary action of the body that we're working with is a rotation of all the tissues that surround those right and left channels, and we're going to focus on rotating inward and rotating outward. So if I imagine these channels as columns, they rotate in and they rotate out, rotate in, rotate out. Now, with my legs, as you can see, I'm not actually rotating, but I am trying to use the tissues as though I am rotating, so that creates a spiral, twisting, ringing action. Okay? This will begin to squeeze and release the channels. Now we rotate both out, as if we were doing this, rotating our feet out, and you'll feel how that creates a contractive power, a twisting, spiraling power right to the sacrum. Now in the Swimming Dragon Body, when that happens, we're going to allow it to push the sacrum forward, and then we're going to use the muscles that run along the spine, which are connected to the right and left channels, to create that serpentine movement, just as if we were doing dragon spine in our warm-up, but subtler. Then that carries into the shoulders, and the arms rotate out. Same thing when we go the other way. If we're rotating in, they rotate in. When I do that, you can feel how the pelvis opens, the sacrum moves back, you can drop down into the pelvis and the pelvic floor a little bit more, and everything begins to rotate in. And again, we get the opposite movement of the spine. If when I rotate out, I get this movement, when I rotate in, I get that movement, a sort of hollowing, dropping down. And that comes back down to the We're trying to get a spiral movement up and down those right and left channels that creates a subtle wave-like action in the body. This is an essential element to Formless Dragon Tai Chi, but as part of the Qigong system, what it does is this ringing, twisting action acts like a wringing out of a towel. You're literally squeezing and twisting out any stagnation that occurs in the channels. It also strengthens the tendons, ligaments, connective tissue, and sinew, all those, the fascia of the muscles. We're trying to enhance and strengthen the fascial power, which is the fibrous elements of the muscle tissue. Okay? So, in doing so, as we squeeze and twist and turn, you can imagine how those fibrous elements twist and squeeze all of the actual flesh, helping to move blood. So this greatly increases circulation of qi and blood, but it also develops a form of isometric strength, which is very useful. Now, the first four movements don't involve any sort of isometric compression or oppositional strength building. It is just the movement of rotation. Now, that's the body regulation. The breath regulation in this particular part is coordinating inhales and exhales. When we rotate inward, we rotate the right and left channels inward, we're going to inhale. When we rotate the right and left channels outward, we're going to exhale. The breath is a natural, relaxed breath. We want to have the support, like the Tizhen Gong, that gentle, uplifting support and gathering power from the pelvic floor and the core and the lower dantian, so that we're always gathering. So we're not going to have so much of an expansive quality as an increase of pressure in the dantian as we inhale the breath down. Okay? So on this inhale, you'll find that since you roll up, this will begin to teach you to do something known as reverse breathing. Now, I don't want you to strive for this. I want you to work on just breathing deeply, but when you're rotating in and these muscles come in the front, allow the abdomen to pull in so that these muscles in the front here can pull in and roll in. What this is going to do is going to start to train the tissues to work in the reverse breathing technique. Now, reverse breathing is a compressive quality to that lower dantian on the inhale. Even though you're bringing the breath down and the diaphragm is sinking, the core muscles down below are also compressing. This is going to raise the qi, the yang qi particularly, and it's going to rise up naturally from the lower dantian to the middle dantian. This is a very powerful way to increase the qi flow and the qi volume. However, it is vitally important that you do not begin to create unnecessary tension. If you find yourself getting tense, or you're beginning to breathe up into the chest instead of down below, I want you to relax the level of pressure in which you're using with the lower abdomen and allow a little bit more expansion. It is far more important that we breathe deeply and do not raise the qi too much and unroot it so that it becomes unrooted and begins to float, because then we can get a yang qi rising, which will put a lot of pressure into the head and into the brain. Particularly when we start getting to the isometric compressive components, it's vitally important that you don't push energy up into your head. You don't want to push there and you start getting red-faced. You want to always feel in any kind of compressive action that we're going to do with our body, like we're squeezing down and in, not up and out. Even though we might be moving our bodies up and out, the squeeze needs to move towards the bones and towards the lower dantian and towards the ground. Okay? Those are vitally important. Now, when we do get to the compressive components, you want to always start gentle. As you get better at this, you'll be able to retain a level of mental and physical energetic relaxation while creating tremendous contraction in the tissues at the same time. This will maximize the qi flow and the blood flow and the lymph flow through the body. We won't be making any unnecessary tension. Instead, we'll really be training the mind, body, sinews, and the qi to compress and condense. This makes the body strong and still supple. The swimming dragon body component is all about flexibility, mobility, and range of motion while increasing longitudinal strength of the tissue. The Iron Dragon claw components, where we're doing the meridian breathing while compressing towards the bones, are all about strengthening, firming up, and making the bones and the sinew and the marrow denser, but still free-flowing. So now we begin. We've got the breath regulation, the body regulation, and the mind regulation is attending to the sequence of actions, feeling the whole body, trying to pay attention to those right and left channels and the spiral force and how that translates into the wave-like action. Okay? Coordinating breath, body, and mind all together. We begin with the hands at the sides. The first 4 movements will go such as this. On the first inhale, you'll get that right or left channel to rotate in. You'll sink naturally. Abdomen comes in and the hands come in. On the exhale, external rotation out. The hands rotate down, out, up, flat, and around as the shoulders come around. The spine does its first dragon spine. The palms rotating around the daimai, around the waist, and the body coming upright. Then on the next inhale, the right left channels will rotate in again. As they do so, we sink. Wave-like action, the shoulder rolls in, elbows come out, and we form a crane's bill. The crane's bill is all the fingers coming together. And on the exhale, we rotate out again, rotating the shoulders and elbows back, the palms open up, and we lift the body. We're going to go through this sequence a couple of times. Inhale, sink, just getting this first part. Exhale. Crane's bill. Exhale, open. Inhale, in. Out. Crane's bill, in. And out. In. Out. In. Forward. And out. Couple more times. Now, those are the first 4 movements. The next movement from this position, as we rotate in again, and you'll see it always alternates yin and yang, rotate in, yang rotate out. As it rotates in, the shoulders roll down, elbows roll out, we sink, and the arms come up. Then on the exhale, as we rotate out, that spiral will move up the body, up the back, rotating through the shoulders and arms. This is where we begin our first isometric extension. We're trying to elongate, as we twist, elongate the body on the exhale. So I'm extending with my exhale through my arms, through the meridians, through the body, like my body is beginning to breathe along these channels, along the right and left channels and the meridians that surround them. So let's look at that again. We'll go from the beginning up to that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Crane's bill. Exhale. Open. Inhale. Dragon raises his wings. Exhale. Dragon opens his wings. And we look up. Shoulder blades go down. And we rotate open, lifting the chest. Elongating the body. You should feel like the yang channels of the legs rotate around and back. The yin channels fill and lift the chest. And then on the next inhale, Again, the right and left channels rotate in. Everything's going to sink except for the arms. The shoulder blades are going to go down. The body's going to sink down. The pelvis is going to drop. The energy is going to drop down as your hands reach up. We're going to extend our thumbs up and our fingers out to the sides, like so. You can see that. Okay. So as I come down, hands go up. Then, as I rotate out, that spiral will come around. And from here, I will push up the spine, through the shoulders, out through the arms, extending up and out. Dragon raises his wings. And on the next inhale, everything comes in. And now we begin our first compression. So as the hands come in, the palms come together. Everything's rotating inwards. I'm sinking down. The shoulders are going down. The shoulder blades are coming down. The hands are coming together and getting an isometric compression. And I'm going to try to bring the hands down behind, slightly behind the head while I gently compress. I'm not trying to isometrically press as hard as I can. I'm trying to isometrically compress with enough force to generate extra energy in the shoulders, arms, upper body. But also, since it's being generated by the rotation of the right and left channels, it will feel like everything's compressing inwards towards the central channel. So again, from here, as we inhale, everything comes in and compresses. Then on the exhale, we again do that rotating out. We get the dragon spine up. We press. Now we're going to try to extend as we press. You should really feel this here. And we want to try to bring, as we get to the top, we want to rotate the back of the arm so the elbow comes forward for when we come down next. Come up, stretch. That's all on the rotation out. Pushing and stretching, shoulders down, fingers up. Elongating the body as we compress. Then on the inhale, as everything rotates in again, we bring the elbows in. Try to touch them together as we come down and compress here. Then on the rotation out, we press the fingers forward, out, and an isometric compression. Again, when we get to the extension, we're going to try to roll the elbow, instead of out like this in the compression, we want to roll it under. So instead of being here with the elbows out, we're going to roll them under, so if we bent them, it would go like this. We're still compressing. And then we come back in. On the inhale, turn the hands so the fingers point towards the chest. And on the exhale, we just stretch. Stretch those fingers. We push the hands forward, keeping the fingers in contact, but letting the palms come away from each other. So we stretch the whole forearm. You should feel that, since you're compressing, all the way up through the shoulders. It's not hard, again. And relax. Those are the movements of the Iron Dragon Body Tao Yin. It finishes by moving right into the Iron Dragon Body compression. However, with the meridian breathing as part of that. I'm not going to go into that yet because we're going to learn that in stages. Let's get this down. So when we finish here, all we're going to do is just do a dragon body, way like a dragon, swimming dragon. So we finish, inhale, exhale. Again, when we're inhaling, the rotation goes inwards. When you exhale, your rotation goes out. So inhale, exhale. And this will set us up for training one of our Fa Jings. A Fa Jing is an explosive movement of power from the deep core of the energy out through all the meridians. And it's an explosive movement of the body. In the martial art of Tai Chi, it's useful in expressing power. In Qigong, it's useful in clearing the channels and expelling excess qi, heat, and pathogenic energy from the bodies. Okay. Let's go through this sequence again. We'll take our time, do it a little piece at a time. So we inhale, rotate in, hands come in. Exhale, rotate out, get that swimming dragon body happening. Inhale, rotate in, cranes bill with the hands. Exhale, rotate out, open the hands up. Now when we do this, we want to feel like almost like you're pushing on a silk curtain right behind you. So the whole back of the arm is pushing back. You'll feel like your scapula behind the shoulder blade is also pushing back. This will help to open the chest, open the lung meridian in the chest. Then on the inhale, we sink in. Swimming dragon raises his wings. Swimming dragon opens his wings. Swimming dragon lifts his wings. Swimming dragon expands his wings. Inhale. Compress. Exhale. Extend. Inhale. Elbows come together. Compress. Exhale. Expand. Elbows under. Inhale. Compress and turn. Exhale. Stretch the forearms and fingers. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. That can all be done in one inhale and exhale with 2 rotations of the right and left channels, but at the beginning it's always easier to just train yourself inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So as those channels and those spiral movements happen, you're remembering to always breathe. Eventually you'll find, naturally, you'll take slower breaths and it'll be inhale, exhale. Tongue lightly touches the roof of the mouth. We have a good central equilibrium. Remember, we're breathing into the lower dantian, yet compressing in there as we inhale. Get that gentle Tizengong, the lift on the pelvic floor, and the gathering of the dantian. On the inhale, everything rotates in. Exhale out. In. Cranes bill. Out. Pushing back against that curtain. In. Raise the arms. Out. Extend. Inhale, shoulders down. Thumbs up, fingers out. Out. Extend. Inhale. Compress. Exhale. Press and expand. Elongate. Inhale, elbows in. Compress. Exhale. Rotate the elbows under. Inhale. Rotate around. Exhale. Elongate the hands and fingers. Inhale. In. Out. In. Out. Ground. I always come in and down. If this is the only thing I'm doing, I'm not doing any of the Iron Dragon Qigong, then I finish in the way I just did. Now, the Iron Dragon Body Breathing Qigong. This part is sort of the ending portion of the Swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin. These two go hand in hand. Okay? They're very important that you develop both of them for an overall balanced development of the body and of the qi. Now, in this particular one, this is an isometric compression. We're going to feel like we're taking our muscles and squeezing towards the center of things, like squeezing the hand towards the Laogang point, squeezing the forearm towards the bones, squeezing the biceps and triceps towards the bone of the upper arm, squeezing the arms and torso towards the torso, squeezing towards the middle dantian, squeezing towards the lower dantian. The only thing you don't want to squeeze is your neck and head towards your upper dantian. You want to squeeze everything in and down. The legs are squeezing towards the bones and pressing down. The body's squeezing towards the torso, towards the center line, and towards the dantian. The pelvic floor is pulling up and squeezing towards the lower dantian. That's always on the inhale. We're going to have a deep squeezing. On the exhale, we're going to maintain the squeeze towards the bones, but we're going to move on the breath from the lower and middle dantian through the channels out. So you're going to see our movements will move in on the inhales and out on the exhales. And we want to feel like even though we've compressed, we're now using the breath to push chi through the channels. Okay? I'm trying to describe this, the sort of complex of what the body regulation, the breath regulation, and the mind regulation are doing all together. This is one of those situations where all three are very, very intimately intertwined. The mind intent is a very important part of how you're going to use the body. Okay? At the same time, the body action has to match up with the mind intent. The simple component of the body regulation is that in this position, on the inhale, we're going to rotate the right and left channels out and back, and then the right channel here it's like I'm rotating here and here. So this whole right side is rotating and squeezing in. Same thing with the left side. So it's here on the inhale. On the exhale, I'll have that starting with the feet, rotating back, and then pushing out. Now this is where the rotating in and rotating out with the breath is reversed from the swimming dragon body Tao Yin. So I'm rotating this way while I move the body. I'm rotating outward with the legs and with the hands. See the shoulders rotating out as everything's moving in and as I'm inhaling into the dantian. Then on the exhale, I start at the feet, they rotate in, and I get that dragon body wave. And exhale out. Now, on the inhale, I want you to inhale through your nose. On the exhale, you're going to powerfully compress with the lower dantian first, then the middle dantian rather, and the chest, and the upper lung, and push out. Right? You're going to push out through the legs, and you're going to push out through the arms. And on the exhale, you're going to exhale with an open mouth and making a ha, like you're saying ha sound, and subvocal ha. Now, this is powerfully expelling to toxins in the body. Okay, in the 6 healing sounds, the ha sound is the expelling sound of the liver energy, releasing fire toxin in the body. Okay, so this is like think of it like a dragon breathing fire. You're breathing the excess heat, stagnation, and what they call xie qi, which is this stagnant and pathogenic and sort of malignant or bad aspected qi. They translated it to evil qi when they translated xie qi. But the term, I don't really like the term evil, more like malignant, because it doesn't have necessarily a conscious intention to harm you. It's energy, but it can be poorly aspected for your well-being. And so that's what we're going to be working with on that exhale. So the first one is that position where we're forward. Now, you'll notice the hands. I'm doing a claw. Sometimes, this is similar to the tiger claw. The dragon claw, the difference is, remember in the dragon hand position, I think I taught that in one of the other videos. If I haven't, we'll talk about it soon. The middle finger and ring finger are generally slightly forward of the index finger and pinky. So if you can see that from the side, they're working together. They're not going to necessarily touch, but they're working together. There's a little gap in here. What I'm going to do when I do that is I'm going to try to compress that like that. I'm squeezing in. They're all coming in, so it can kind of sometimes look like a tiger claw, which is all 5 coming evenly. But here with the dragon claw, I actually want the thumb to be connected with the ring finger and middle finger, and the index finger and pinky to be connected. They're all squeezing, but you'll see they squeeze slightly separate from each other. So there's that space here between index finger and pinky between on either side of that index finger and middle finger and pinky and ring finger. Okay? So that's the dragon claw. And as I come in, I'm going to compress that to the Laogong point of the palm, and then like I'm pulling and breathing into. Now as I'm inhaling, I'm trying to imagine as if I'm breathing through the body tissues. You know, your skin breathes constantly. It's always drawing oxygen in and out. We want to consciously participate with intention to activate the qi and how the channels can breathe. So this is a channel breathing exercise as much as it is a muscle exercise and a tendon and sinew exercise. So as we're inhaling, everything's compressing in and moving towards the body. The breath is kind of coming in through the arms, trying to envelop and condense, move in and condense towards the middle dantian. So the upper body, the arms are breathing into the middle dantian, then the middle dantian is breathing towards the lower dantian. The legs are doing the same thing. We're gripping the ground with our toes. They're reaching out just as our hands are and gripping and drawing in. Now as I rotate, I'm pulling, so I'm literally pulling myself towards the ground a little bit with this contractive power and breathing into that lower dantian. Okay, let's try a couple of those. Just inhale and exhale. So it's here, inhale, and exhale. Now, the first few times you do this, when you do it with a lot of intensity, you'll feel like you have a lot of energy built up inside, like you need to expel a little bit more. If you feel that, we'll do a quick little expansive, explosive Fa Jing right at the end. So what I mean by that is, so I have this movement, we'll do it again. You can even almost like a column, you know, to push out. It's a compressive power in the lower dantian that pushes through the body, and it's a little extra release. Now, the longer you do this and the more you do it, the less you're going to feel like you need to do that. You'll start to do it in the sequence of the other movement, and you won't need to do that Fa Jing until maybe the end of a sequence of them, if at all. And then at the very end, we'll do these. There are 3 Fa Jings that we do to close the form. Okay, we'll explore those right at the end. So again, this first one we'll do one more time, and then we'll move on to the next one. So from here, we've got Dragon Claw, and in, and again, when I finish it, I always just settling the breath. Okay? So we've done 3 to the front, and when we do this in sequence, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 to each of these positions. Now the next one, we're going to start, usually on this one we've just done an exhale here. We'll inhale gently in, exhale gently up into the position. Now in this position, we're in that right and left channel, what they call pillar of the sky position, where the fingers are pointing towards the center line. Right? The hands are up, thumbs are extended up, and again we've got the dragon claw. Here we're going to rotate in this time. Instead of rotating out first, we're going to rotate in on the inhale. We go back to the original from the Dragon Body Tao Yin. On this one, we rotated out as we compressed in, and then exhaled out. On this one, we're going to rotate in and sink, and then rotate out and compress. Okay. We start here. Same thing, get that dragon claw. Shoulders, blades down. Don't lift the shoulder blades, keep them down. Rotate in. And out. If you need to, usually I find I don't need to in this position. Again, in. Now, when you're going up, don't forget to squeeze the torso. Don't forget to squeeze the obliques and the serratus up in here, and then the trapezius, or not the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, and all the muscles that surround the scapula and the shoulder, and squeeze and push. Push that chi out. Try to breathe through the meridians. Breathing in, squeezing in, and then squeezing and pushing out. And out. Then, keep an isometric compression here and pull down like you're raking the air. Relax for a second, reach out. Now we get to the last one. In this one, on the inhale, we're going to rotate out again. The legs are going to rotate out, the arms are going to rotate out, and everything, the whole yang side of the body is going to come together, really strengthening the back. Then, when we go in, we get that dragon spine and a corkscrew push back out. Okay? We start here, inhale. And in, and relax. The traditional practice of this flows, I'm not going to do it with a lot of intensity or focus, I just want to show the mechanics and the sequencing. We've got the Dragon Body Tao Yin. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, crane's bill, exhale. Inhale, dragon raises his wings. Exhale, dragon opens his wings. Inhale, dragon lifts his wings. Exhale, dragon expands his wings. Dragon folds his wings. Dragon lengthens his wings. Compress the heart. And expand. And in. And out. Then we start. Remember, it rotates out. Iron Dragon Body. Breathing down, Qigong. In. We do 2 and 3. I'm not doing this full intensity, I'm just showing the actions. Then we come in, inhale, exhale up. Inhale, compress. Exhale, press. Inhale, compress. Try rotating in and rotating out. Third time. Finishing your exhale, pull down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. be one cycle or one repetition of the whole sequence. You're going to do it 3 times. That's tradition. Okay? At the end of each cycle, we do what's known as the 3 fudgings, the 3 dragon fudgings. These are all based on these right and left channels rotating in and creating this spinal movement. Okay? The first one is here, in, we'll inhale in, and then rotate out, and it's an explosive popping action. Watch the whole body from the side so you can see the dragon spine. And we're trying to work with this spiral to come up and come right out through the hands. That's the first one. Then the second one, on the inhale, we rotate open, gathering the chi from the yang, moving in, and we're going to compress into the dantian. Again, that's from here, would be. And then the last one is a spiral twisting shake, where you're twisting back and forth and shaking the whole body up and out. So it'll be in, and you're trying to just twist and shake both the right and left channels around the center line, but also the right and left channels just twisting each side, twisting back and forth. Again, that one looks like. And that's an expansion. And when you exhale, your mind is trying to expand from the bones out through all the collaterals, through all the channels, in every direction. Out this way, out that way, out here, down there. It's your whole body just expelling. Now, to go through this whole sequence, we're going to do this as a practice session. Here's what our practice session is. Remember, in the Dragon Body Tao Yin, swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin exercise, inhale on the rotation in, exhale on the rotation out. On the Iron Dragon Body breathing Qigong, it alternates. Sometimes you're rotating out on the inhale and in on the exhale. Sometimes you're rotating in on the inhale and out on the exhale. Out and then in again. Just a reminder as we go through it, starting with swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin. breaths. Just let my heart rate settle again, because if you've done this right, you'll elevate your heart rate a little bit. This, by the way, is a really good Qigong for the metabolism. Again, tongue lightly touches the roof of the mouth. Swimming Dragon Body Tao Yin. Iron Dragon Body breathing. Three fudgings. That's round two. One last cycle. And we're done. By now you should be sweating a little bit. Feeling the heat of the body, getting a good workout, and feeling your breath. Centralize, central equilibrium. Swimming Dragon Body Qigong. In and out. In, cranes build. And Qigong or standing Qigong, just to bring the yin back in.